Hello, everyone. Welcome to our latest episode of Meet the Experts. Please tell us where you're watching from, where in the world you are. Give us a link to your property, show off to everyone, show us how great you are, show us your websites. Let's get started. I'm Jen Boyles. Most of you will know me in the hub, I guess, so far. If you haven't heard me speak, I'm Canadian, but I live in England. I know we've had a huge influx of people from the States lately, so my accent will probably be a bit more familiar to them. So I'm a holiday rental marketing consultant and a website designer and half of the Marketing Hub. I will hand it over to Rachel.
Hi everyone, so I'm Rachel, the co-founder of the Marketing Hub. I'm also a copywriter for holiday rentals, and I'm a villa holiday specialist for France and Italy. Thank you very much for coming today. It's so exciting to see so many people in the hub now. We're well over 400 members. Jen and I are always looking to bring in experts to help really give you useful tips so you can market your holiday rental businesses successfully. So we have a great expert here. Hey, over to you, Jen.
Just wanted to say, if you have any questions while you're watching this, put the questions below. I'm keeping an eye on the group in the hub to see if you've got any. Let us know if you're watching live or on replay, and give us any comments. Let's hand it over to Sylvia, and maybe she can tell us who she is.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for having me here. My accent will not be so easy to understand as Jen's. I'm clearly Italian, no way I can hide it. And I'm here with my SEO specialist hat. I'm the founder of an SEO agency, Pink SEO Marketing, here in West London. And I've been doing this job for 10 years now. Moved here to the UK 6 years ago. And previously back in Italy, I was doing the very same thing.
Okay, Rachel, did you want to start off with the first question?
Yes, okay. So also I wanted to add, I'm in London too, and you can probably tell from my accent. So Sylvia, so also to let you know, I've known Sylvia for a few years now, and she helped me understand what SEO is, and I had no idea before, and why it's so important for marketing. And I have watched her help other business owners to optimize their websites and contribute directly to the success of their businesses in the process. So this is why I brought Sylvia on here, why I introduced her to the group. First question, Sylvia, I think we need to go back to basics. What is SEO and we need it?
Yeah, well, that's quite a very good question. SEO stands for search engine optimization, and it's basically what we do to make sure that a website can be found on Google as well as possible for the terms that you want. So it will be an intentional ranking and not an accidental one, because if we do not do something intentionally nowadays, with all the competition and all the websites out there existing for anything, it is very difficult that we will be found precisely for what we want in a clear way. We may accidentally be ranking for something that we slightly mentioned somewhere, but if we do it intentionally, if we do it on purpose and knowing how things work, then we can definitely get quite a competitive advantage. SEO is in itself a very competitive game, because the thing that you have to do in the end is outrank your competitors. There are 10 results and it's a zero-sum type of game. So you need to be there and you need to push out somebody else. So basically, what do you do if you're doing something that somebody else is not doing? You've got a competitive edge on them and you may be able to rank better than them.
And here you're talking about Google, basically. You're talking about ranking on Google search results.
Yeah, talking about search engines, Google is the most popular based on where you want to be found for. If your target is international, you may want to look at Yandex, for example, which is the Russian search engine, but it doesn't work so much differently than Google. So if we consider how Google works, that's what we can use as a guideline for then Yahoo and Bing and Baidu. The Chinese is a tiny little bit different, but still anyway, we can consider that as a guideline. Yeah.
Okay.
So how do our websites compete with like the likes of Airbnb, Vrbo, Booking.com? Because they buy all these keywords, you know, they've got all this money behind them. How can we compete with our own individual site?
It might be difficult in the beginning if you consider the most competitive keywords. So the big players up there, they got something that's very difficult to replicate, not just in terms of paid ads, because they will be paying Google AdWords and ads so that their listing will be always a step up on anybody. It's an auction. So I'm paying one plus anyone else, regardless. But even in terms of organic rankings, they have got so many backlinks. They've got such a strong backlink profile that it's quite difficult for small business owners to outrank them for the most competitive keywords. But that's where we need to be a little bit smart and think outside the box and think of all the different keywords that you can be found for. So it doesn't have to be just term and localization. You can start thinking of what else your prospective customer may be searching for when they're in that type of discovery phase, in which they've got an idea on their mind, they want to go somewhere. They are not just searching for the accommodation yet. They are making their mind again around this kind of dream phase in which they're gathering information, they're learning what is there to be seen, what is there worth doing. And that's where you got a lot of potential, because first you need to acknowledge what people are searching for. So there's a lot of work behind and due diligence in terms of research that you have to do, and understand what people really want to search, want to find. And that is the demand. Once you understand the demand, then all you have to do is to provide the offer. So you find out that they're searching for the top 10 beaches there. They're trying to see, they're trying to find family-friendly activities to be doing somewhere else, pet-friendly, dog-friendly walks around somewhere else. That's where you can start publishing amazing stuff with the wealth of expertise you have, because you've been running a business there for a lot and you know more than the big chains because you've been there. So you know, you're a local, you know lots of things and you've got so much to tell. And if you start thinking how many tips you could just be giving someone over the counter if they are there, if it's a guest and they're asking you, what shall I do now? You'd spend hours just telling them what they can do. The same things you write, they can be indexed, you can be ranked for them. So people can find you instead of the big chains, and it creates that type of trust that we have. Because when I have to book a holiday, if I find a big chain, I know that I'm part of a mass production system. But if I find an independent relationship with someone who's a small business like me, and I see how curated their site is, how much time and passion they've been putting, and how personal the relationship is, I don't feel I'm a chain in a mass things. I feel that I'm actually contributing to somebody's business, and I trust more having a business relationship with someone who's actually there answering my questions, and I have some, it creates some trust straight away.
Okay, that's interesting. I mean, So I think you've hit the nail on the head there. I mean, a lot of people, they're very local to their area and they know a lot about their area. Is it enough for them then to put in just to write about their own area, or do they need research? Because we were talking about this with you earlier. What people are searching for on Google, you know, you actually need to research it. What you think they might be looking for is actually wrong. They might well be looking for something else.
Yeah, that's a very, very common type of thing. It's always assumption versus reality. So we start thinking of, if we make a list of what we think that people search for, it can be some kind of game. You give yourself 30 minutes at a time and you start brainstorming things that you think that people are searching for. And then you do a reality check and you see what people really are searching for. And you need some type of tools. There's plenty of free tools that you can use. You can use Google Auto Suggest. So you start typing something and Google will auto complete it based on the frequently searched for queries. So that means that they're searched for. Then there is Google Trends. Then there is Answer the Public, Uber Suggest. There's plenty of free tools that you can do, but that's a lot of insight that you need to know to see if your assumption is real. Otherwise, you're very immersed in your reality and you're very educated. You know a lot that somewhere who's living very far away from you does not. So for you, the place where you live, the place where you go, they're very popular, but they may not be so popular for your ideal customer and guests. So you want to be found for what they search for. They may be searching for the area, they may be searching for nearby areas. And what if you can be found as an accommodation near to somewhere else, which is maybe driving a little bit more of the magnetic attraction? When they're searching for something somewhere else and they fall in love with your property, they may say, oh, it's close anyway, I want to go there because I like it more. So you need to know what they are searching for so you can intercept them.
So obviously this is something you do as an SEO expert. You take over the SEO, you help people to understand that, you do the research and find the keywords. At what stage should people seek that expert advice in websites?
Well, we're an agency and we work with clients when they're ready. Generally, they're not very often, they're not ready in the beginning, because generally when they launch, they want to publish the site, they want to be there, they want to have that on their brochures, on their marketing materials, and that's all they need. Generally, what happens is that they start realizing that they may need to be intentionally optimizing the site after a couple of years, more or less, that they've been running the business, and they see that, you know what, I'm getting all my business, all my bookings through the various portals, but no inquiries ever coming through my site. And then they start searching and they notice they are nowhere to be found. So they realize they have a problem. Sometimes it happens that people were a little bit more savvy. They start from the very beginning, wanting a website that's fully optimized. So it's SEO friendly in the first place. They're saving some time, because SEO doesn't happen overnight. And if somebody's promising you tomorrow you'll be on the first page of Google, you should not be so comfortable in giving them your money, because it doesn't work overnight. If it's done professionally and from a holistic perspective, that won't get you in trouble either, because it's easy to be penalized. It takes time if it's done in a qualitative level, but the sooner you start, the sooner you get there. So yes, in the beginning you may have to be paying some commission, but once your site starts ranking well, then you may reduce those costs so much that then it's basically like you've detached from the big chains.
Yeah. What would be one thing that someone who have their own site, maybe they have a limited budget, what's the one thing that they could do to see a difference in their ranking?
Well, first of all, know what people search for and make sure that you're not hiding those elements from your pages, because sometimes we may not think, we may not know how it works. The crawler bots, those little elements of the algorithm of the Google system, they're constantly scanning sites. They're robots. They're programmed to do some kind of operations. And they're programmed, for example, to go and scan in some elements like the titles, for example, the images, all of those things you need to use in those elements, the things that you want to be found for. So you may not know about that. You may just be naming and titling a page with the specific name of the apartment, with the specific name of the room, but that's not what people would be searching for. So even when you're naming images, when you're naming pages, titles, you need to, you don't have to play hide and seek with Google. The things that you want to be found for, they need to be very in plain sight as much as possible.
Great. Well, that's gold. That's really helpful, isn't it, Rachel?
Definitely. I know the keywords, we're advised to use them on blog posts, and also you've got your home page. There are some pages where you don't have to use them. Is that right? Or are you saying you should use them all the way through?
Well, there are pages that are more service pages, like the contact us, this kind of things. But if you think of others from a creative way, for example, the prices, the rates, we all search for how much is that. So why don't we creatively optimize a page so that when someone wants to know the average price of a holiday somewhere, they can find your page, or the how to reach us. If you create the page in a way that's giving some kind of easy information on route descriptions and traffic ways how to get to your place, it can be insightful for people also to get some kind of knowledge about how to move around in the area nearby. So again, it's people who are potential customers. They may not know that you exist yet, but they discover you by chance, and then they may become customers.
Yeah, very, very true. Very true. Well, thank you, Sylvia. I think this has been really, really helpful. I know Gillian's been watching. We haven't had any other questions on our live here, but please let us know if you're watching on replay. Tell us where you are. And if you have any questions that you want to ask, pop them below. And Sylvia is part of the hub, so she could always pop on and answer them. Sylvia, can you tell us where people can find you if they want to know more about what you provide?
Of course. On LinkedIn, Silvia Del Corso, my name, that's the easiest way to reach me because it's the channel that I use the most. Otherwise, the website, pinkseo.marketing, that's where you can see also lots of guides and articles. Similarly, we've been creating lots of video guides, if you can stand the accent, on the YouTube channel, Pink SEO Marketing. You find like more than 30 video guides on how to make your titles, how to optimize your images, how to do lots of things on your own. So it's all kind of insightful information that you can learn from.
That's great.
Excellent.
Any last words, Rachel?
No, that's it. I hadn't realized you had videos, but I think I'll go on them as well. That's great. Yeah, thanks so much, Sylvia.
Really helpful. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you very much.
Bye. It was my pleasure. Thank you so much.